Hello, my name is Maurісіо Suleyman, son of Jose Suleyman, and president of the World Boxing Council, the WBC. This is a new podcast. I still have not found the name. I will try to find a name for the podcast because I'm really enjoying this exercise and this opportunity to be close to the boxing fans and the media, the boxing community of the world. The topic that I chose for this episode is ratings. Ratings is a completely subjective and complicated topic for boxing in the world. Before I explain the WBC ratings criteria, we must understand that ratings are made for those fighters who are eligible to compete for the WBC championship. Or the other organizations, their ratings are for the fighters that are eligible to compete in their championships. That is the reason why the champions of another organization are not listed in the rankings from 1 to 40. We rate 40 fighters, but we list them as champions of another organization. I've been asked by fans sometimes, hey, why is that fighter who is a champion not ranked in the WBC? That is the situation. The explanation is he is not eligible to fight unless it's a unification fight.
Okay? The vote is Matias or Cepeda, 3 or 4. That's our job to get this top 10 right. Okay?
The WBC Ratings Committee is composed by members from all over the world. From the WBC federations, we have people that are honorable, knowledgeable, hard-working, dedicating boxing men. They spend countless hours every day, every week, every month to try to compile the best information, and then our committee meets once a month in a Sunday Zoom meeting to review all the results, all the happenings around the world, and to compile and create the ratings for the coming month. Once a year, the WBC Ratings Committee meets at the conventions. They have a 2-day session in which they review thoroughly the 18 weight categories, and then promoters and managers have the opportunity to meet with them to review and to put forward their cases. Once this is done, the summary of rankings is made, and during an open session, public open session,
And he almost won every round. He was 9 rounds to not 1 for Dusmanov. Dusmanov is a fantastic fighter, greatest amateur there was. I would say about number 5 is a good position for him.
Every single ranking is read and discussed. Every single person has the opportunity to put their case forward, to be analyzed and to be discussed and many times changed. Being that said, there's a specific ratings criteria. But first we have to understand that fighters themselves find themselves in a different era during their career. It is not the same a 4-rounder, 6, 8-rounder who's starting their career, who's a prospect coming up, being a sensational fighter that is looking great, than a former champion who lost, or a great fighter who has challenged for title fights. You have to put in a balance that there are fighters on different stages of their careers, and that comprises the whole ratings of the WBC. What do we take in consideration? Of course, results, the record of the fighter. What is that numeric record? But also, you have to consider it's not the same to be 15-0 in Mexico, in the US, in the UK, which is an unbelievable market with great level of opposition, than to have someone 15-0 from a country where there's not much activity and the level of opposition is lower. We have seen so many times fighters coming with 18-0, 20-0 fight against a strong country fighter who is 7-9, and the other beats the undefeated fighter. So records and results are one very important component of the rankings. The level of opposition is considered. If you are fighting against low level of opposition compared to fighting to equal or higher level of opposition, the merit for your ranking is going to be affected for the good or for the bad. Where the fight take place, it is analyzed whether this fighter fighting locally with all their conditions in favor, or whether the fighter is going abroad to another state, to another city, to another country, and wins. That takes a big, big difference into the result itself. The activity is something that has to do with the rankings. There are fighters that get to a point, that get to a higher ranking and then remain inactive for a period of time. That's going to affect them to go down in the rankings as well. One thing that is considered is the results of the last fights. You may have a big, strong, very well-known name, a former champion, but if you review the last fights, their performance, that can be very easily translated into which position he should be ranked in that specific period of time. The importance of the fights. It is not the same to fight a 8-round fight, 10-round fight, than to be fighting for the regional title, affiliated title, world title. Regardless of the result, the importance of the fight, the importance of the event also has elements for the ratings criteria. The condition in which you show up. Sometimes you can be a great fighter, you can be a good record, but if your condition is not well, even if you win a easy decision, you have to consider all the other elements and give the recognition to that win. And it is not always going to be only because you won that you deserve to be moved up. How you lose. You can lose a fight by disqualification. You can lose a fight by a controversial decision. You can lose a fight by a cut where you were winning all the rounds of the fight, etc., etc. So that is also considered into the whole evaluation. One thing that we have discussed lately, of course, with Francis Ngannou, that was a controversial topic. The WBC criteria considers the amateur and the Olympic results, considers the results in other combat sports such as Muay Thai, kickboxing, MMA. When you become a fighter, those are also considered, and then with your results in boxing. There are divisions that have much more complicated level of competition, and that's where it's more difficult to be moving fighters ahead. And there are some divisions that are weaker, and you can see a fighter moving up faster than in other weight categories. At the end, the opinion of the experts is something that is very important. The opinion from the local rating chairman, the rating member of the WBC. If he has gone to those fights, he can experience what he saw and then report, and that is also considered in a very important way. Ratings will never be perfect. A record is only a paper. There's so much behind that story that tells you and that gives you the opportunity to fully rank the fighters in the proper way. Thank you so very much. I hope this has been a clarification, and I will see you in the next podcast.